Alright guys, welcome back. It's been a while. I know I've been also out of the country for a bit, so do a little bit of catch up. So we're gonna do a little 3-in-1. An earlier release this summer, end of May, Hazmat Pearl. And then we're gonna catch up with the 2 newest releases of Hammer that just came out a couple weeks ago with the Angersolid and the Bubblegum Vibe. So all 3 of these balls that I guess if they have any similarity is they've all come out with this core of a ball before, and they're just kind of adding a new cover to all 3 of them. So I have some experience between all of them. With the Hazmat, we'll start, they start with the Hazmat, the original, which is a hybrid, and then they had the Hazmat Solid last year, and then now with the Hazmat Pearl. With the Hazmat Solid, it was a great benchmark piece. With the Hazmat Hybrid, I always found that to be a very smooth and a clean piece that was like slower off transition, kind of like a bigger core, so it's kind of like standing up earlier, but not coming off too sharp, so it's kind of good, easy to use, easy to read kind of shape. With the Anger, they had the Anger original, which is the Anger Pearl, that came out last year as well, and that one was a little quick for me, so I didn't have a lot of places where I was comfortably using it. House shots was great because, you know, you're trying to create an angle anyway for carry percentage. But I believe it almost seems like a flip-flop right now between the Anger and the Hazmat, just because one became the Solid, one became the Pearl. Where I have now the Anger Solid replacing where the Hazmat Solid used to be. Might have a little bit more shape in the back than I remember from the Hazmat Solid from a couple of shots I've thrown with it recently. I do have it kind of more lane shine now. I didn't polish it, didn't compound it, just strictly threw games with it, and it's definitely more usable now than it was out of box. And then last, definitely one of my favorites right now, especially in the summer when the conditions are usually a little drier with the temperature and the less volume in most of the centers, the Bubblegum Vibe. For the people that's been following my bowling or has watched me bowl the last couple of years, obviously love the radioactive vibe, love the Arctic vibe. Shot 300 with both of those. Hopefully I could keep it up with this one in the summer, but this one's been, you know, a really good house shot. Save a lot of energy, expecting a little bit more shape in the back just to retain that angle and just to move that throw right as long as there's enough friction, right? Obviously, on a fresher pattern or more volume in the middle in the winter, it might be a little bit, you know, too weak to start with because it's just too quick, gets too far down, doesn't read the mid lane. But as of right now in the summer, it's been beautiful. Gonna throw a couple shots with all of them. And let's get started with, we'll go with the benchmark first. So let's start with the earliest ball here, the Anger Solid. 17 to like 8. It's more like 15. Got a little wider than I wanted to, so that wasn't bad. I'd probably just move a little left off of that just because of how early and high it went. But personally, I just really like the shape of it because it just reads the mid lane very well. With the lane shine, it's still reading up. I know this is a house shot, so it's a little bit more definitive friction, but at the same time, it's the way it's coming off the pattern, not losing energy. I have a feeling like when it was out of box, it probably burned up a lot quicker, a lot sooner, just because of the surface being a lot duller. Something I probably put a pad to if I was bowling on more tougher conditions where I need to kind of get the ball to stop a little sooner, but on a house shot, this looks pretty good right now. Yeah, so that was like a 3-in-2. Just got a little left. Kind of made sure the ball had more angle right to left, giving it more room as well, so it's not reading up and burning up too quick and too early. So moving more and more into the oil, I find this ball a little bit better. So depending on the house or the condition you're bowling on, you're looking for that mid lane read. I think as of right now, there's not too many solids in the medium benchmark. So this feels like a ball that I'll keep in my bag for that reason. Got that wide. Yeah, so I pitch it wide. It didn't recover. So that's the demonstration of, I guess, how slow the ball is to recover off the friction. It's not really made to be a huge cornering piece. Get it out there, make too big of an angle, ball gives up. Doesn't have enough time, response time for the ball to get back to the pocket. Whereas I'm sure if I miss it tight, the ball might actually hold a little bit better. I'm gonna keep moving. I've been moving 2-3 a shot, so this time I'm gonna try to keep it a little tighter and see what happens. right? You see, got it a little tighter as I'm moving in. Ball still read the mid lane. Didn't need as much response time to get to the pocket, but obviously that's not the ideal spot. Lazy 10 pin, a little flat. That's just because I'm too deep with it now, but you can see the way the ball moves as I'm adjusting to the lane, and kind of see how that ball is transitioning. And it just seems like it's a very easy ball to understand the motion for. I think the last time I had a ball in this spot in the bag is like a stealth mode, hammerhead. Those are very similar balls that I think I've had this kind of shape. One more. Back to where it should be. That's perfect, right? So you want to be in between there, kind of like I moved a little bit back right to where I should be. You can see it kind of flare out to that friction, that track area around that cheater board. Pick up the mid lane, get enough energy. Really good at the pocket. So that's that. And over the summer, a little bit of just personal sharing is slightly tweaking a little bit of layouts and releases as well. So kind of just playing around with a couple of things. It's kind of the off season, so trying to focus on more of a stock release where it's a little less volatile, more roll, more forward. Don't have to rotate it as much. And then kind of drill the balls a little weaker finally, because a lot of my equipment before, if you watch the previous videos, they're like 3.25 or 3.5 inches away from my PAP. Now a lot of these are, for example, 45 by 4 by 40, and this one is 30 by 4 by 75. So these ones, I'm trying to be able to get more rolly with it, and the ball's retaining more energy better. And not puking on me, you don't have to really rotate it just to get the energy. So Hazmat Pearl. I already moved like another 4 right, just as knowing and assuming that it's not really gonna read the mid lane as early. Looks like I could keep going. What I find with this ball is, I think the color is starting to make a little bit of a statement here with the white. Most white balls, personally, I find is a little bit more rollier, chuggier, slower. And it's just shows that the fact that it's not really trying to make a huge corner, even though it's a pearl ball. The cover itself does it. Obviously, if you're keeping the cover clean. When I had this one, I actually think I did the reverse, where I took the pearl off, or like the polish off. Put either 1500 or 2000, I can't remember off the top of my head, but took it off slightly on the ball just to get more mid lane read out of the ball, because I don't want it to be too sharp, and I'll be able to control it a lot better. Right, so you see how if I flare it to the right, it's just coming in so late. So I'm actually gonna move more and more. Maybe I have to straighten out my angle a little bit. Maybe I can tweak my hand a little bit. Let me get a feel for it, but I'll probably start with just moving right. But you can see that even though it's a pearl ball, not necessarily does it always mean it's a sharper ball, just because the core itself is just standing up so early. And I think the color slows down the reaction a lot, even though it's a pearl ball. So I'm gonna keep moving right. Angle a little bit straighter. Right, so now I'm starting to see more motion. So what I'm gonna do is, and I mean, I was told there's a house shot, but I can see that maybe outside of 5, there's a little bit of a spot where I don't want to hit, because it just hung, versus now I kind of got it back to like 8 and 10, and it's coming in really hard. So I'm gonna tighten up my angles, but move left then. Just don't get it too far to the right. I just assumed on a house shot I want to feed it to the right. Yeah, there's free hook. Doesn't seem like the case. I'm not sure if there's like some overnight carry down or anything like that from the lanes. So I'll just tighten up my angles, keep the ball not too far away. Yeah, so I'm actually moving left, keeping my angles and my break point tighter, and it's hooking more. So now I'm just gonna keep going. Use the middle. That's getting a lot better. So 9 pin, but so it's coming in sharp. So when the ball sees definitive friction, the pearl kicks in my opinion. It just comes harder. But overall, the ball is a pretty good mid lane read-ish of a ball just because of the core. It stands up. So it's kind of, not that it's contradicting itself, but it might give a false sense of what people assume from a Pearl ball immediately. And that's why I said I took the cover off on this ball. And I had really good sets of this on house shots too by the end of the winter season. So I'm gonna keep chasing it closer to where my anger is now, just to test. I never actually threw a shot here yet because I assumed I moved right with it. It's actually like right, that one's right on top of my anger. It just looks like the ball just came off the spot a little bit harder. Layout's the exact same as my anger, so that's a good sign. So we're not playing too much difference between the core layout. And then we're seeing the more cover difference and a little bit of the actual core dynamics different, but the layout is the same. And I think now I'm definitely in the right spot, watching the ball go through the pins and watching the ball read the mid lane there. So trusting it, I'm gonna move a little more left than that. Alright, I'm slapping out that 10 pin perfectly. So it's giving me confidence that it's creating the proper angle to take out the 10 pin that I can keep shifting left as I want to. And you know, that's why I like the ball on like this ball right now, because it seems like it's a good one too. Because if I want something a little slower, I got the anger. I want something a little quicker, I got Hazmat Pearl. And I don't have to worry too much about hand position. I'm just doing the exact same thing. I'm just letting the ball cover and core do its thing. Right now it's just going through the pins perfectly, so that's looking really good. Switch over to the bubblegum. I'm gonna throw one shot in the same spot just because I should have done that with the hazmat earlier, so see what it does. But from what I'm seeing with the bubblegum so far, is just really clean. Haven't touched the surface with this one just because naturally I do want it to be cleaner, sharper. That's the idea of it. And have it shape up a lot more in the back end, as especially on the summer conditions, like I said, on dry conditions, when you're forced so far left, you want the ball to kind of retain better energy, and it's going to hook more off the friction when given the right amount of friction, right? So necessarily drilling a ball weak doesn't, not necessarily actually, in reality, drilling a ball weak doesn't make the ball hook less. It just makes it retain more energy to hook more when called for. That's the same shot. Overall, just a little bit less than the hazmat, and I think it's not necessarily less in the back. It's more less than in the mid lane. So it kind of looked like it skipped the mid lane, like an extra foot or two pushed, leaving that flat 10. So what I'm gonna do off that is probably just make sure the ball's kind of going into the friction a little earlier, a little sooner. That means I do have to move to the right, just to avoid that flat 10. That's it. So a little bit back to the right, getting the ball into the friction a little earlier, getting the ball to read the mid lane a little earlier. That way we're able to see the shape we want to see because of the last flat 10. We're making adjustments to kind of see the right shape. So we're not making crazy moves. We're just kind of using theory now to make the adjustments, right? Like obviously, are we skipping the mid lane? Are we reading the mid lane? Is it coming too hard off the spot? Too slow? Those are usually the terms I like to use to compare balls or to even make adjustments for myself in a tournament. Like, am I using too strong equipment, too weak of equipment? Am I getting the right angles? Those are all questions I ask myself as I throw every shot. Right, and that's right now that's looking as good as the hazmat when I think I was like 3 more left with my feet, around 1 or 2 with my eyes with the hazmat. So a little bit of a step down. Lets me use the friction a little more. Does seem like it's slamming back from the friction once it sees it. It's just that when I was too deep with it, doesn't really look like it really wants to do anything. So you definitely don't want this ball sitting in the oil too long. And the color just looks nice, you know. Have fun throwing it. Nice little pink ball. That's my 3 balls that I'm, you know, carrying everywhere with me in the summer right now, except for like maybe a sport tournament. Maybe some of the balls are too weak, but these are going with me with all my league shots, house shots, the way they are in the surface they are right now. So like I said, a little bit sanded on the Hazmat Pearl, a little bit lane shine on the Anger, out of box for the vibe. So that's, sometimes out of box isn't the end of the world, but it's just, we like to fidget around with the surface a lot here and there, just because, like I said, we're trying to find the shape we want to see with the ball, and it's not sometimes the layout that's always going to give it to me, or if it's, you know, the drilling or anything like that. It's more like everything is so minute and so close, and we're talking about fractions and hairs of an inches. Like, we're trying to see if it's not reading in the right spot, what can I do to adjust and manipulate the surface to make it show what it is and do what it is so that I can see it better, right? So while we're wrapping up, I'm going to throw 1 shot with each ball, just to finalize where I am with the balls on the lane today with where they are. That way you can kind of see a little bit of an overlap of, you know, the ball strengths between them. I'll go with the Anger. In comparison, I guess the Anger, for all my recent releases, I like to compare with Stealth Mode. Slightly quicker Hazmat Solid, but a slower Hammerhead. Next shot, I'm going to throw Hazmat Pearl. And I'm going to put this closer to the Black Widow Mania, because it's a little bit slower than that. Or no, around a little bit slow like that with an ASIM. Slower than the Anger Pearl, but quicker than the Angersolid. That's just the same spot as the Angersolid, just slightly different angle. And last, I got the Bubblegum Vibe here. Haven't drilled a lower end ball since obviously the last Arctic Vibe, so hard to compare. But if I had to compare with something recent, newer than the Arctic Vibe, I guess it's closer to like the Ivory Rhino that I have from Brunswick. Definitely a little sharper than that. But I had a good time with the Ivory Rhino as well when I had it, so very close in terms of cleanness. Through the front, and just does the right thing there. So those are my 3 balls right now. Thanks for catching up with me. I know it's been a while since we made a video. Stay tuned. We do have something coming up in August here at Kennedy Bowl as well. We do have the Toronto Experience featuring Darren Tang and Chris Vai. I'm gonna try to pull some time and film something with them in our next video and see if we can kind of, you know, discuss some maybe common things that people like to hear about, talk about, or just have opinions on, from regardless of the pro shop side, the pro tour side, or just, you know, as a bowler on the lanes, just common things that we like to do some Q&A and maybe watch all 3 of us throw a couple of shots here and there and just compare and see what we're seeing together, right? Thanks for watching, guys.